chat with him when he played a few days later at Liverpool's O2 Academy, and a really interesting interview we did with him as well. I'm going to play you the highlights of that in just a minute, but first we shall whet your appetites with a single from his current album Savage. What a cracker it is too. There's a track called My Name Is Ruin.
When they called me broken, I knew. When they called me evil, I knew. When they called me ruin, I knew. I would always find my way to them. When I beg forgiveness, then you. When I beg for mercy, then you. When I beg for nothing, then you. I would always find my way to you. When I called you poison, you knew. When I called you shameful, you knew. When I called you liar, you knew. I would always find my way to you.
Okay, we'll start with Gary Numan backstage at Liverpool Academy just a few hours before he goes on stage this evening. Obviously, Gary, you will have been playing in Preston earlier this week, where we're based at the Guildhall. How was that? How was that gig for you?
That was a great one, actually. I enjoyed that one. I was probably the best I've been on that particular night, I thought. Not that saying much, I don't mean that, but I got everything right on that night, actually. Remembered all my words, didn't fall over. It was all right. Pulled some shapes. It was good fun. Crowd were great. You know, it's really good night.
A very impressive light show you've got, obviously, for that particular show. Is that something that you've been working on sort of over a number of years now in terms of developing the light show?
Not really. We sort of look at it each time we go out, you know, so what we can do. If there's enough budget available, then you can put more into it. And luckily, the Savage shows, both the first tour and the second, we were able to put a lot more money into it than we had been up until then, which is great. As things progress, the album did really well. We started to work with a new promoter who was sort of a bit more ambitious in terms of money and so on. And that sort of goes straight into making the stage shows bigger and better, so we could bring the big video screens and do all that kind of thing. And not just those, other sort of conventional lights as well to enhance that. Yeah. But it could be that next time we go out, it will look very different. It might even be more expensive. It really depends on where the career's at that point. Yeah. But you try to find a light show that would give you multiple looks, not just sort of one look that's really impressive, and after 4 or 5 songs you get a bit used to it, and it stops having the impact. Even though it still looks good, it doesn't have the same impact. You want something that you can just keep moving from one thing to another as the set progresses, and then maybe on song 4 or 5 you'll go back to the beginning, and now it has impact again because you haven't seen it for 15-20 minutes. So that's what you're trying to do. And Luke Edwards, who designs the shows for me now, is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So he's just grown. It's amazing what he does now. Really great. So I'm very lucky that I got a fantastic team of people around me that contribute their own ideas to what I bring to it, and it makes a difference. Now you surround yourself with good people, and everything you do becomes that much more polished and that much more professional. Definitely.
Now I noticed, I actually first saw you a couple of years ago when you played at the Academy in Manchester, and I noticed at that time there was a splintering, quite a big sprinkling of older numbers like Metal, and We Are So Fragile and stuff like that. This time around, with this tour, there's much more emphasis on the new album and the new songs. Is that a reflection of your confidence in the strength of the new material? Because obviously it is very strong as an album.
It's a bit of that. We do change the set around a bit. We've been evolving it slightly as it's progressed. But when the tour started, we were doing 6 or 7 older songs, I think. And as it's progressed, we dropped down to 4, I think, in the current lineup. I think it'll be 4 tonight. Yeah. Partly because I want to be playing newer stuff because it just works really well and it feels right for what we're doing, and partly because some of the older stuff that we play, you've played it a lot and it gets a bit predictable. Within that, there are still some things that you have to play. Either into electric and cars, and much as I'd like to drop them once in a while, I probably couldn't. Although I don't even know that. It might even be that people themselves maybe would like a break from them and do something instead. It's so difficult to know really what to do for the best.
It is. It was interesting when you played Cars the other night, because it's sounding each time you hear it live now more and more like the Fear Factory version that you did with that band at the end of the 90s. Was that quite a sort of was it very satisfying for you to have a band like that want to cover your song in the way that they did it, with obviously you doing the vocals at the time?
Well, there's been a lot of it, to be honest. I used to keep a record of how many people had done cover versions, and I got up to about 70, 75 years ago, and then I just stopped. Couldn't count them all anymore. But there's been some brilliant ones. 9 Inch Nails did one, Foo Fighters, Grace Jones did one not long ago. Just loads. And it's really cool. It's very flattering, and it's a very lovely thing to have people of that calibre doing your own stuff, and to have so many people of that calibre. For me as a songwriter, it's a huge pat on the back. So I love it.
lock all my doors, and it's the only way I live in cars. Here in my car, I can hardly receive. I can listen to you, and it keeps me stable for days in cars. If I open my door in cars. Here in my car, I know I've started to think about leaving tonight. Although nothing seems right in cars.
Now, is it fair to say that Savages, the new album, is a continuation theme-wise of the previous album? Because it seems to be, in terms of obviously the subtitle of the album and Songs from a Broken World, etc. Is it a continuation? Would you say, in terms of the themes?
No, the only connection is the subtitle.
Right.
That's it. Everything else is completely different. Splinter, the one before, was with the Songs from a Broken Mind subtitle, was all very personal. I had depression for 3 years, nearly messed up my marriage, and it was all grim for a while. And so writing Splinter was a really helpful and useful way of understanding what had happened. Being able to write about it is a very useful way of understanding it and dealing with it. And it was a very important part of that process of coming out the end of that, sort of without not being sort of scarred, really. Coming out a bit better than I was before I went in it, actually. The new one is pure science fiction, global warming apocalypse, many generations from now, terrible world, all gone to the desert. It's all come from a story, a novel that I'm trying to write, which I need to finish when this when it's all over.
That's interesting. Have you got a title for it yet?
Well, I don't really, although it revolves around a character called Ruin. So at the moment the working title for the book is Ruin. I'm not sure where it'll end up.
I mean, a couple of the songs, obviously, My Name Is Ruin, that you mentioned, When the World Comes Apart, those tracks seem to have that kind of like apocalyptic feel to them to a degree. And My Name Is Ruin, certainly in terms of when you look at the visuals for it as well. What's the sort of message behind that in terms of your lyrics and what you're trying to get across?
No message as such. It really is trying to describe a time in the future. It started out as just being a science fiction story, and I wanted it to be set in a desert world, this world. But then I think, well, why would it be a desert world? Oh, I know, global warming. So you know, just a whole series of sort of things. So it wasn't done out of any great passion for or concern about global warming, although I do have that. That wasn't the driving force behind the story or the book. It's become it. As time's gone by. So it doesn't have a message as such. It's not meant to be a warning about global warming or anything like that. I'm not clever enough or understand it well enough to be able to do that. But the thing that was interesting about it, when I started to write the record and using these ideas, these global warming ideas, it was pretty much, I mean, to the week-ish that Donald Trump arrived as part of his election campaign and started to talk about, pulling out the Paris Accord and that climate change is all a hoax and perpetrated by the Chinese for some bizarre reason that only he could figure out. And all this ignorant, stupid stuff, and I was just thinking, really? You can't be serious. And it made me want to write more about it. So, the more he said what he said, the more I felt inclined to want to write more and more songs, all borrowed from the book about this global warming world. And initially it was going to be a couple of songs just to get me going, and then we'd see what other ideas came to mind. And the more it went on, the more I wanted to write more about that sort of thing.
CityBeat.